Good morning, Saturday, and I'm leaving the hotel about 16 minute ride to Barber for the event, to the museum, and I rested in because I finally got some pretty good sleep. I was pretty worn out yesterday. Total miles were 475, something like that. I could feel it. Kind of got calluses on my throttle hand, and let's just say some posterior. I gave the seat a good test yesterday. I'm not sure how many hours ride it was. I'll figure that out, but it was a lot. Last night's dinner was pretty fun. Really kind of friendly guy. Mr. Tom organized it and sort of started setting it up on his own to be a fundraiser for BDR, and then told them, hey, I'm doing this thing, what do you think? And they were like, heck yeah. Well, but you don't need to do that all on your own. We'll help you. So he ended up getting the BDR actually bona fide involved. So last night at dinner there were a number of people from the Chattahoochee BDRX and the SouthEast BDR films, as well as Jocelyn Snoke. I don't know where she resides, but she was there, and I guess she's been in bunches of them, and is probably, I guess, one of the board members or whatever. But it was fun. It's a fun little small gathering, probably 40 people, maybe, if that. 35, 40 people came. Really good food, and I sat at a table and talked to a couple of folks and shared riding stories and so forth. It's a mix. There's some people who are pretty new to riding and the whole BDR organization and what it is, but are excited about it. And then there's some people who have been involved a lot with some of the planning, route planning, scouting, that kind of stuff. And there was at least one person there, I think, who they said was a ambassador. But I'll see everybody again here in a minute and get everybody's names and everything. What they ought to have is name tags. I know those are dorky, but this is a social kind of sort of a networking event, or fundraising. It wouldn't hurt. Oh yeah, heated seat and heated grips are kicking in, although I think it's going to be pretty nice today. It already feels warmer at 9:45 than it did yesterday at 4. So today's gonna be fun. I'm just gonna basically tour the museum, take several hours to do that, and then there's lunch, and then after lunch I found out that the riding demonstration is actually, I think, like a little miniature training class. I'll find out. Oh, and there's gonna be raffles or whatever, or is it silent auction? I don't know what it is, for stuff. Yeah. And then meanwhile, I'll keep a look on. I've got the secret link to Angelo's Garmin tracker, his inReach. So I'll be seeing how far he's going and checking in with him, because we were going to try to coordinate our hookup tonight. Camping is option 1. The campground is called River Run. I don't think it's in the SouthEast BDR film, because it's new, but it's recently opened, and it's since been added to, I think it's been added to their GPX file if you download a newer copy of the route. And I went to the website, and it's not much on the website yet because it's all new, but they say right there on the splash page, you know, welcome BDR riders. So we'll go check them out. I don't think they have their full like shower bathhouse thing built yet, at least according to the webpage. But as long as they have a fire pit and there's somewhere to get firewood, I think I'll survive. Otherwise, if we don't hook up and we don't camp, then I'm going to stay in a hotel tonight because I don't like the cold. I'm just gonna say it. All right, I'll shut up now. See you at the museum.
What was your name again? Eric. Eric rode in from South Florida yesterday. Just a short 750-mile ride, I think. Awesome. So I'm not an expert on the whole history of this place, but I do know that, and I believe, you know, the owner, Mr. Barber, was an owner of a Lotus race team, if I'm not mistaken. So there's lots of vintage race cars here, lots of Lotus history, and you know, if someone were an aficionado of this stuff, or what's the word, aficionado? If someone were more of an expert of this stuff than me, then they would certainly have a lot of interesting things to say about this stuff, but to me it's just awesome. So I would say the museum has a large portion of cars, mostly racing cars, but we'll get to the bikes, and the bikes are divided up by kind of decades, categories, and it's not just antiques, it's stuff, you know, all the way up pretty much to the present, just unique bikes. Amazing collection. I might have said this before, but artwork is like a big thing around the grounds here. So there's the cow over here representing of course, the dairy industry that Mr. Barber came from, built up. Around the grounds, there's various other kind of interesting sculptures. I might take a ride around the perimeter loop to look at some later. I'm over here in British Corner. Early British. total speed racer vibes on this one. Whoa. Leader bike section. Oh man, that is sick. Wow. Look at that design. That is And then you got the Honda Rune, which is a cruiser made out of a Goldwing. That's insane. Victory Cruiser. Wow. Where are the stretched boosas? Oh. The silver Ducati 916, excuse me. Oh, how I've wanted a GS for so long. As soon as those things came out, really. I love this thing. The BMW scooter with the roof and the windshield wiper. This is a 125. That would be a pretty hot cannonball scoot right there. We're in 70s corner here, and this has been, oh God, look at the size of those turn signals though. Wow, I was about to say, this is one of my favorite Hondas. I didn't realize that they had turn signals. Are those original? Probably are. If it's here in Barber's, it probably is. But I just think this is a real tidy design. I love the tank shape, the seat shape. It's obviously influenced by, you know, British bikes, but Honda did a really good job with this. The four exhaust headers sweeping to one side. How many carbs? 4 carbs, obviously. Here's the AMF Harley 250 Italian made. I think Amarachi was the actual manufacturer and imported under Harley's name to try to compete with some of the 70s bikes from the Japanese manufacturers that were dominating sales, I guess I should say. I'm not an expert at this. I know a little bit. I know that's a very expensive motorcycle right there. The Matchless. So I'm in the kind of new section, the West Wing, and it appears to be mostly kind of off or competition. So there's all drag bikes down. So it was like drag racers with the wheelie bar things or whatever. More drag bikes. These are a couple speedway bikes. Flat trackers here. Of course, the Harley 750. And this is a cool little motocross exhibit they've got here with the dirt track. There's a Greaves. Here's the Elsinore CR250. Looks very much like the one my buddy Gene Brown used to race in the ARMA events. And well, he actually owned one originally when he was a young man or teenager, I guess. And then, yeah, found another one and started racing ARMA with it. Okay, here's actually a couple of trials bikes. This is new. All right. BSA Wassel. Probably, what's the motor from it? Bantam or something? Entry-level trials machine. 172cc. Yeah. Bantam motor. Big BSA single 4-stroke. The Mick Andrews replica. That's a very nice one. Had the pleasure of hanging out with Mick Andrews several times. He would come over and ride ARMA events, sort of kind of for the fun of it, but also kind of help promote it. And I also took a trials training weekend, like school, Mick Andrews school with him, and he ended up being pretty common around the pits and hanging out at events, and really nice dude. Enjoyed him a lot. And here we go. Here's the Honda TL125. This was my first trials bike. Loved it. Still love it. Regret selling it. I actually traded mine in for my Tiger Cub at the swap meet at Mid-Ohio, and kind of regretted it. Now mine wasn't as original and pretty as this one. Mine, actually, I punched it out to 150 with the overbore kit, and I'd messed around with the gearing and done a bunch of mods and put pegs and all kind of stuff, and it was pretty stonky. I liked it. Also, there's the Suzuki RL250. I owned one of those as well. Looked exactly like that. I decided at one point I needed a 250 two-stroke vintage trials bike, and I found one of those. And I don't know if you can tell, but the front end is kind of raked out a little bit more than, for example, maybe the Honda. I don't know. The Honda had an interesting fork geometry as well. The Honda's kind of flaw was that the fork tubes were pretty far in front of the main stem here. See, it's almost like a triangle, whereas if you look at the Mick Andrews, they're more in line, so it's a wider V. That made the steering of the Honda want to fall in to turns, but I got used to it and I really liked it. The RL, though, the problem was totally different for me, was that it had an increased rake and trail, which made it kind of a little, I don't know, it just, it was more difficult to get it to fall into turns. And I ended up selling it for that reason. Just didn't love riding it. If you're going to try to ride and compete, and it's not here in this exhibit, would be the Yamaha TY250 or the TY175 if you're a little bit smaller rider. They have the best geometry, and the 250 in particular has the best ability, I think, to put the power to the ground in a very smooth and controllable way. I've always wanted one, never owned one. For me, though, it's hard to deny the awesome, cool looks of a chrome fender and an aluminum narrow British-style fuel tank. In fact, I think that's the exact tank I have on my Tiger. I forget who makes it. It might be Sammy Miller. Sammy Miller, legendary trials rider, and a manufacturer, and he himself has a museum that one day I do hope to visit as well. How many of y'all remember this? The Michael Jordan racing team, mid-90s, with the Air Jordan jump man. And they had the matching suits. I'm trying to remember who his big racer was. I feel like he signed somebody. Let's see if this says. Montez Stewart. This was his bike. Pridmore, that's it. Jason Pridmore. I guess next I'm going up for more vintage bikes. GB500. Another bike we used to own. My wife actually rode that for a while. Scooter world. And I think I'm the only one here looking at the scooters. Of course, classic Heinkel. Very Art Deco. Huge, long wheelbase. American-made Cushman. What is that? It's called a Silver Pigeon. Modern Honda Hub. I don't know if they ever stopped making them, actually. The highest selling two-wheeled motorized vehicle in the world, supposedly. Here's a gorgeous R100 GSPD. What year is this? 90. Similar to my buddy Chris's. Of course, his is an 89, I think, and is a, let's just say it's not as museum tidy as this one is. There's a KLR 650 in the museum. Well, I mean, they deserve it. It is kind of undefeatable in some ways, in its simplicity, mostly. I guarantee you there's people that came to this event riding a KLR. Blue Superhawk. And a CL, probably, yeah, 250. Nice. Kind of scared to ride one, though. I mean, look at those foot pegs. Solid steel. I'm probably not supposed to touch that. Sorry. I remember when this little Aprilia came out. I thought it was cool. I don't think anybody really understood them. I guess maybe if you lived in Rome, this would be a fashionable around town commuter. 1995. Whoa. Here's a clay mock-up bike for the Buell Lightning, I think. Doesn't say. But I'm thinking Lightning. Interesting. I've never seen a clay mock-up. Yeah, this is like Buell exhibit. All right, here's a couple of awesome Ducatis. The Paul Smart Super Sport, I think is what it was. Ducati made some really cool machines right around this era. Does anybody remember this one? With the James Bond looking exhaust pipes under the seat and the fin taillight. That's a cool bike. More Italian treasures here. Damn, look at that. Super Veloce. And a 999. Ultimate Beauty. And I knew they had a Britain here somewhere. Wow. Pretty good documentary if you haven't seen it on the, I think it's called The Britain Story. Pretty much, if I remember, the story is like woodshed to premier class. Guy totally designed the entire thing and built it himself. And at first it was too much power and kind of unrideable, and it took a lot of work to make it a contender. Ducati Hypermotard 1100. Oh, how I lust after one of these. I just don't know. I don't know. I keep looking at them. Would be wicked fun on a track or Twisty Mountains, North Carolina. This is really interesting. I don't even know what this is. Looks like a Buell frame. Or styled after the Buell. Ronin. This is ringing a bell, actually. Belt drive. Very interesting. I decided to come out and kind of look at everybody's bikes here for the event. It's pretty well sorted out 700 there. Tenere. There's my GS. Wide variety of machines. Oh, that's a Harley Davidson. Okay. Here's a 1300 Adventure. That's pretty cool. All right, well, folks are starting to mill around over here in the BDR event area.